So Paul and Elle, can you first of all summarise to us what your new book is about?
Well, in 2022 we produced this book, Everyday Life in the Ice Age, which was the first time actually that a book has appeared in English that explained all the different aspects of life in the Ice Age, from about 35,000 to 10,000 BC, something like that. And it's filled a definite gap in the market and seems to be much appreciated, but it also occurred to us eventually that there is no such volume available for children. Mm-hmm. And we know that this type of material is taught in schools, and yet there's very little good factual material available to them. Mm-hmm. To learn about this particular subject.
Mm-hmm. So it's a small version, really. You know, most of the topics we've covered, but more child friendly, obviously, and the sort of things that we think children would be interested and excited about. But it is surprising just how interested children are in prehistory. Mm-hmm. We've done a few sessions with youngsters, haven't we? We did a Zoom call with your nieces, a couple of classes. There were 40 children there. They wanted to learn about cave art, mm-hmm. and they were so responsive and so excited and enjoyed it so much, and we were thrilled with the questions that they asked us.
As I say, there was very little really good solid factual evidence available to school children, and that's what we're trying to do in the new booklet, is give them a good solid factual correct grounding.
Something for fun. And also so the parents have an idea of, you know, if they come home from school and ask the parents questions, say, well, did people live all those years ago, you know, 30,000 years ago, really? So it's for the parents, the new one, and also as a teacher's aid, you know, to help them, because they have to work incredibly hard to gather information to put on these classes at school. Very often what one school is doing is quite different to what another school is doing, and when we looked at the material available to them, we were often dismayed that it simply wasn't factual, it simply wasn't correct.
So it also helps to dispel the sort of the stereotypes that children are presented in cartoons as well, I guess.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Get them right from the start, get them the facts right from the start.
And of course, in everyday life, there is a lot about children. We have a whole section about children, which are almost have been forgotten until very recently. You have a colleague, April Noel, that's written about children in the Ice Age. She is a superb scholar. And she's really brought children in the Ice Age to the forefront because they were forgotten about, but they were there. You know, they were there. You know, and must have been doing things and, you know, learning things. They had a huge amount to learn.
Of course, that's a crucial part of life, certainly of any hunter-gatherers, or really of any people, is you've got to pass on your knowledge to the children. They are the future generations. They have to learn all of this stuff. The history, the mythology, and the technical stuff, how to survive, how to do this, how to do that. So, children are absolutely crucial to any period in history.
Yeah, and another impetus, you know, for writing the book was how canny our ancestors were, you know, how resourceful, and, you know, they didn't waste stuff. You know, that's pretty obvious. I mean, they had a limited amount of time to, you know, gather enough food, fuel, animals to turn into skins for clothing, and they must have had to work incredibly hard and have a waste not, want not policy, really, because there just wasn't, there was no opportunity for extravagance, really.
And quite a good message, I think, to share today, given the problems that we're having, isn't it?
Indeed.
And I think another message that needs to come through is that these people, as far as we can tell, were incredibly respectful of nature. Just the depictions of the animals in their art shows a tremendous respect, if not love, for these animals. And the animals were their entire source of food and raw materials to a large extent. So clearly they were part of nature, they respected nature, and they looked after it, we think. And that, again, I think is a very important message for the youngsters of today.
Because it's a two-way thing, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship. We have to respect what's out there because we depend on it for our survival.
It's very different to the disconnect that a lot of people have today
Yeah.
with
Yes.
nature.
Yeah.
So I think probably my last question then is just grab a child's attention for me. What is like a fact or a snippet from your book that a child would find really cool or interesting?
One of the things we've covered in the adult book and in the children's version of the book is just how incredibly courageous and daring a lot of these children were in relation to the caves. I mean, some of these caves are enormous. And there are cases, such as in the Pyrenees, where it's clear that children went maybe a mile into these caves and played in those dark depths. We know they played because they were making the best footprints they could in the mud and this sort of thing. So they had total control of a lighting system. They were not afraid of their lamps going out in the dark. They could relight them if they had to. And they had no fear of the dark, of these long distances in the dark. And in that particular cave, Neo, to get a mile into the cave, there was a lot of crawling and clambering over rocks and very, very difficult terrain to get through. And yet they went in every nook and cranny of many of these caves. So, but we've never found a broken bone, let alone a skeleton of a dead child in these caves. So they knew exactly what they were doing. They were very much at home in that environment, which is astonishing.
Perfect. I think that's everything. So thank you very much, both of you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.